The following is a presentation of TFNN. Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Namaste and welcome to Mindful Living, everybody. It's Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien, and we are on a mission to share information to help you get healthy, feel your best, and live life to the fullest every single day. Is that possible?
It's not only possible, but you just came back from that from the Dominican.
I did.
Talk about good yoga teaching in the Dominican.
In a specific part of the Dominican Republic.
That's
not
right.
many people go to, Samana Peninsula. It was so gorgeous. I'm feeling really good right now.
And last year, folks, we had the pleasure, my son and I, that we were there. And if you ever get a chance, it is an amazing place.
We had an awesome time. And, you know, people ask me all the time, why go on yoga retreat? I could go on vacation here, there, wherever. You know, when you go on a health and wellness vacation,
right,
you have the opportunity to unplug and at the same time invest into your health, you know. So we got up every morning, did yoga, and then explored the area or relaxed by the pool or by the beach, went for long walks, or we went on a couple of awesome excursions to see some like national parks and just the jungle and the mountains.
It's gorgeous there. Yeah.
So gorgeous.
And it's great feeling healthy.
Totally.
That's the other side of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's good having a good time, but feeling healthy and having a great time is a whole different ballgame.
That's right. We did yoga again in the afternoon. You eat healthier, you know, just fresh food. And so I was thinking about that because several times during that trip, I just would have these moments of just awe, where you just pause and notice the scenery around you and just go, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful right now. Like, this is so amazing. And you bring that refreshing view back to life, you know, with you to your real world. So it's a reminder to kind of just pause and be. That's what we talk about in yoga meditation. You know, be present. Notice what's around you, even here in this busy world in which we live.
No doubt.
You know, our crazy jobs, but it was so beautiful. So we'll do it again next year.
No, totally.
Yeah.
And you had the whole family this year, which is awesome.
It was so sweet. Oh, we had a great time. Yeah. So, you know, we're going to talk about some really cool things today. We're going to get to a little bit about the business of yoga. And, folks, we have a really exciting guest coming on later whose name is Keto McGregor. She is a world-renowned Ashtanga yoga teacher, the youngest woman to ever be certified by the Guru of Ashtanga in Mysore, India.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the youngest.
Cool.
So it's pretty impressive. She is an inspiration to business women around the world. So any woman out there who has a dream, an aspiration, who's trying to get it done, she's a great example for that. So I find her just a very empowering example for women.
Yeah,
totally. A couple books, DVDs. It's awesome. So I'm excited to talk with her a little bit later.
Yeah, she's got huge traction, and it's a good period of time, but it's a short period of time to be so successful.
Oh, yeah, and I think I read on her website or in an article she wrote, in less than 2 years, she got over 6 million hits on her YouTube channel. That's huge.
That's a beautiful thing.
It's awesome,
totally.
Yeah. And if you haven't, we've got our website posted. If you go check it out, kinoyoga.com.
Yes.
You know, it's a testament to what the body could do, what's possible. And, you know, we may or may not ever move like this woman or bend like this woman or be as strong as this woman.
I won't move.
Exactly.
I would love to. I would love to, but the reality is that
it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
It's inspiring.
It is. No, it is. It is. Well, you know what's so funny about that is that Nico, so I work out with Nico in the morning, right?
Yeah.
But because I was doing so much yoga with you, Nico's doing yoga.
Really?
Right? Yeah, but he was watching Keto's videos.
Oh my gosh!
And so I'd go in there, and this is early in the morning, folks. I'm watching Nico saying, "Okay, I have this thing right," and I was laughing. Man. It was good though. It was good. And he's got them. You know, isn't that funny?
It's so great.
Yeah,
I'm excited. We'll have to come bring him to my yoga class.
I'm gonna.
It's gonna be awesome.
No, totally.
I can't wait to see. He's in such great shape.
Yeah.
But something else I found really inspiring, I have to tell you, I got to do just day before yesterday. I came back just yesterday from the Hippocrates Health Institute.
Oh, did you?
In Palm Beach. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Tom, you have to go. We have to go and spend some time there So, folks, if you remember, the show we did is about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
With the director of Hippocrates Health Institute, Brian Clement, Dr. Brian Clement.
Right.
A fascinating speaker. I mean,
Yes.
he too, he travels the world,
yeah.
in a different city every couple days, different country. And so I got to meet him. I got to see his wife speak, who's the co-director.
Yes.
Drink their just delicious, freshest, sweetest wheatgrass on the planet. It's funny, I got to go in and see where they grew it.
Did you?
And on my Twitter page...
We're going to get some of those seeds. Start growing it.
Oh, man, I tell you, on my Twitter page, I posted a picture. It said, I feel like I died and went to wheatgrass heaven.
Okay.
It was awesome. And, man, you know, just to hear the stories about the people they're helping and healing.
Yes.
You know, remember, their philosophy is mind-body health, much like what we talk about so much on the show, mindful living. And sometimes people go there just to detox and refresh. Other people go with serious disease. And oftentimes it's their last resort. And I heard some of the success stories, people with stage 4 cancer who reverse it with completely holistic methods that they offer there.
It's amazing.
And actually, Heather Mills, so I heard this story, apparently she wrote about this in her book. You know, she has an amputated leg. She was married to Paul McCartney.
Oh, yes, sure, right.
And after the amputation, the leg kept getting infected. And,
yes.
you know, millions of dollars. She saw the best medical practitioners in Europe, and nothing could heal her. She went to Hippocrates, and they treated it with, they put poultices of wheatgrass just on the wound and some other things, holistic, like
Unbelievable.
Herbs. Healed it.
Wheatgrass.
It's man, we got to go. I just so believe in what they're doing.
No, big time. You know what I'm digging? I'm digging wheatgrass with ginger in it.
Yes. Oh, I had that. They had fresh green juice to drink there all day on campus, anywhere.
Yeah.
And they had some with ginger, which is good for the belly, digestion. They had some with garlic, which is detoxing. It kills infections. Oh, man, it just... So it inspired me to share this story as well, and that is, I just got a note in my email yesterday about the plight of bees, honeybees.
Yes.
You know, they're dying.
Yes.
And I just want to encourage our listeners, remind you to choose organic anytime you get. This is another big message Dr. Clements he shared.
Yeah, remember he said during the people are out of their mind if they don't want to spend the extra on organic.
Out of their mind. He literally said crazy.
Yes.
People who don't go out of their way to eat organic are crazy. And this article that just came out yesterday, so it says bees have thrived for 50 million years. Thrived. And they're responsible for pollinating $30 billion worth of crops in the U.S. alone every year. In the U.S. alone.
30 billion.
But the U.S. government just reported that the bees are dying at 40% a year. So that's at an unsustainable rate. And now, so that's a fact. Everybody agrees it's happening, and it's happening around the world. Already in Europe, they say there are not enough honeybees to pollinate the crops. And we're talking about things like apples, almonds, onions, broccoli, cauliflower, things we eat every day that could potentially one day be considered like exotic foods. So
wouldn't that be crazy?
Crazy. But what's even crazier is people are debating the reason.
Yes.
So you have the scientists clearly saying it's because of pesticides. Sprays that we're using
and then
to
you
kill.
have Monsanto fighting them.
Exactly. Monsanto, Bayer, some other big drug companies saying, oh, no, it's inconclusive. It's because of infections in the bees. So I'm just going to say, if we're not sure, even if you're doubting the cause, why not stand up and do what we can, to try and save our crops? It's even if you hate bees, if you're allergic to bees and you're afraid of bees, bees grow our food.
Yeah.
So if you want to eat and keep eating the things you love, do your best to buy organic.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know what's amazing? Thinking that the pollination process is so important in the process of living. That's pretty intense.
It is so intense.
Yeah.
It's the whole world. We're all connected.
We can get into education. It's like, why isn't that? I guess they did teach us that in 7th or 8th grade, but they got to hammer some of this stuff in. They really do.
They really do. Yeah, kids, we got to start early.
Instead of giving out Coke and desserts in school.
Totally.
What do they give your children in school?
It's not much better. They are working on it, but we parents need to get
bizarre.
more involved.
No, it is absolutely bizarre.
Yeah.
It's integrated everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I went to. We were at Ellie was at a Winter Guard, and this is a big stadium, folks, and there was nothing else to eat except junk. And I'm saying to myself, and that's how most stadiums are, I think. It's like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, I talk with my friends who are moms and dads, and we all say, oh, well, not my child, they're going to make good choices, because we teach them. We eat well at home, and we teach them to make good choices. So we send our kids once a week with money to school. They get hot lunch, and they get to choose, for something from the cafeteria. And we're thinking, they're making good choices. Well, sure enough, end of the month we get a bill, and it's like ice cream, ice cream, ice cream, cookie. You can't leave it up to 5- and 7-year-old. We still need to be involved. And that's the other thing. If you remember the interview we did with Rich Roll, who's a vegan Ultraman athlete, I asked him that question. What do you say to the parents who say, oh, my kids will only eat mac and cheese or chicken nuggets and French fries? He said, really? Who's buying them that food?
Yeah, no, there's no doubt.
It's your 7-year-old, but they throw a fit. Well, sooner or later, they're going to eat. They're not going to let themselves starve. They will eat what you put on your table, and that should be it.
And, Dr. Clementi, he came up with a great, I loved how he said that when fast food started, folks, first they used to just give away toys, get people hanging there.
Yeah.
Now, and it's always that promotion. What are you going to give away to get it? What do you, it's like, really?
Yeah. Just becoming aware of this stuff, my gosh, and I feel like, it's our goal here to help people, help us even. I mean, we talk about things we're interested in.
No doubt.
And just get people thinking and at the same time looking for solutions. It does none of us any good to sit around and just complain all day that, oh, I'm sitting on my couch, woe is me, this stinks, I would change it, but I can't. Well, we can. We have power in how we spend our money.
No, and that's crucial. Mm-hmm. And in the context of, I love life. I love everything about life, okay? But no, I do. But in the context, it's like sometimes they say, "Why am I eating this junk myself?" I mean, so we know it's not that we don't eat junk. I mean, I eat junk. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
I drink wine. I mean, there's plenty of things that I probably shouldn't do. But you want to be cognizant and stay as healthy as you can, and do that extra work to get the healthy food.
Yeah.
Because it's insane when you don't. Even I went home at lunch today, right? And I did, and I was eating something. So I said, "Why am I eating this?" But I was so hungry. I hadn't eaten in like days. No,
yeah.
I
know you look like it.
No.
Spelt over here.
No, I was eating, but I was just busy. It was a busy day, so it was a fun day. But that's crazy.
Dr. Clement talked about this too. We keep quoting. We need to get him back on the show. He's so awesome.
He is.
And my friend who I was at Hippocrates with this week, Rick Kleppel, who we had on the show, who is a cancer survivor, went to Hippocrates.
I'm going to do yoga with him Tuesday.
He's such a great guy.
I talked to him. I texted him this morning. We're coming to your class Tuesday.
That's awesome. I'm so excited.
7 o'clock this morning. He's texting me.
Come and bring your friends.
It's a beautiful thing.
New
I like
White
it.
Orchid Yoga.
Totally.
I'm going to work him hard.
Totally.
So he said it's all about frequency. I mean. You have to live and you want to enjoy your life. Even Dr. Clement said that. He said if you want to get healthier, start over 2 years, reduce like 20% a month of the bad stuff.
Right.
And replace it with good stuff. It's not, you don't have to quit cold turkey and start eating all raw today. Just have more veggies in the house so when you are starving and in a hurry, you have a fresher, healthier choice.
I got to get a wheatgrass machine. I got to get a wheatgrass machine. I got to get one of this stuff. I got on the videos, and if you get on the videos, folks, you go to YouTube, it's really easy to grow wheatgrass.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like pretty simple.
Yeah.
I mean, they said 30 days, you can get it from the top to the bottom and you start cutting it and you get your own supply.
Yeah, and you can also order
Farmer O'Brien.
A new business idea, folks, for the master of manifestation.
Oh, my God.
It's so good for you. It is. It's like we called it that liquid gold. That's what they call it because of it's just the power of the sun. It's got in the chlorophyll, and it's so healing for us. So, but it just makes you think. Be more mindful, be more aware of what you're putting in your body because that's your machine. That's your machine.
That's all we have.
They also talked about giving your body a break. If you go down there for healing, you fast 1 day a week.
Okay.
And this makes a lot of sense to me too. There's all these kind of fad diets that say eat 7 small meals a day.
Yes.
But if you think about eating all day, all the time, and never giving your digestive system a break, things are going to shut down.
Yeah.
They're going to break. It's going to break, and it makes sense to let your body rest and just clean itself out.
No, totally.
So lots of good messages
That's common
there.
sense, too.
Totally. So we're going to come back with some awesome tips for business of yoga. Stay with us. We'll be back with more mindful living in just a minute, folks.
In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here. What are you doing right now? Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Welcome back to Mindful Living. Tom and I are here with our distinguished guest of the show, Kino McGregor, who is an international yoga teacher, author of 2 books, producer of 6 Ashtanga yoga DVDs. This goes on, so please be patient, people. Writer, vlogger, world traveler, co-founder of a beautiful yoga center in Miami, South Beach to be exact, Miami Life Center, and is the youngest woman to be certified by the guru of Ashtanga yoga in Mysore, India. Kino McGregor, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Kiko.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. Listen, I would add to that list complete inspiration to business women around the world. So
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Kino, it's so awesome to have you on Mindful Living, and as a beautiful, talented, knowledgeable yoga teacher, you know, we suggest and recommend for anyone who is not familiar with you to go to your website and just see what you can do and see what you've done. I would just like to start with, how do you do it? I mean, you have done so much, all while also traveling the world. You circumnavigate the globe seemingly annually. How do you get it all done?
Well, I think for me, my energy really comes from my inspiration to share this practice with as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. So whatever needs to get done in order for me to keep sharing the message of yoga through whatever means I have, whether it's teaching workshops or retreats or even one-on-one in a private session, or making videos for my YouTube channel, or posting photos and videos on Instagram. Whatever it is, I make time for it because it's just, it's just who I am. It's just what I do, and it's the thing that keeps me motivated, in every aspect of my life.
So what is it about the yoga message that's inspiring you the most? Why do you want to share it with so many people?
Well, part of my journey in relation to starting yoga was that I wanted to live a more peaceful life. I wanted to find a way to be truly happy and truly joyful, rather than just these sort of, moments where you feel really happy. I wanted to find a way out of what seemed like, endless and perhaps meaningless suffering. Just the small little annoyances that come, and I wanted to be happy, and that's how I started the practice of yoga. And it's through the meeting with my teacher, Sri Pattabhi Joyce in India, and through the disciplined study of this methodology that I've understood that it's not luck when you're happy. It's actually the result of conscious effort to train the habit pattern of the mind, and it's a conscious effort to keep your heart open to loving yourself and loving the world around you. And this is sort of what I've discovered through the practice, and it's what I believe that everyone has the ability to experience and apply firsthand, first of all, to themselves and ultimately into their lives. And for me, I believe that the world would be a happier place and would be a more peaceful place if everyone was practicing yoga. So that's the thing that really keeps me motivated. It keeps me energized, because I think, what kind of world do we live in today, and what kind of world do I want to live in 10 years from now, 20 years from now? And I just feel so inspired when I see, younger and younger children and people practicing yoga, and seeing how that's really giving them this idea that life can really be so much more peaceful and so much more happy than I ever imagined when I was their age. So when I see that, I get re-inspired and I get re-energized to continue spreading that message in the world.
Kino, that's an eloquent message.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of different messages, not just about yoga in general, and that's a beauty. And in that context, what is amazing, what you're saying, is that you're a busy businesswoman beyond belief. You're talented beyond belief, but yet you have peace and you don't feel like you're running around catching your tail. No, seriously, right? Because I can understand the context of what you're saying. Running a business, and I'm coming at you from the point that if I don't make enough time for yoga, then I'm saying I'm running around like I wake up, okay, am I going to yoga? What am I doing? Am I doing 2 hours? Am I doing 1 hour? I'm doing no hour. And so that battle is always in my head, not always, but, sometimes it's in my head. So it's really cool hearing that, because I know what the difference is, and there's a huge difference.
Well, I think, too, it's true in anything you do. I mean, even in our profession, I mean, I teach yoga as well, but in all that you do, Kino, it's the same exact thing, right? You still have to take time for yourself, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing that I do every morning is I do my practice, my yoga practice and my own meditation practice, and without that, I really wouldn't have a reservoir of anything to dig into when I'm teaching. And there are times when I end up teaching too much, end up running that reservoir dry, and I make sure that I make time to actually go back to India. At least, I try to do it at least, once a year for 1 month minimum, 4 weeks minimum, to really just go and be a student and replenish my reserves, so that I can be a good teacher and I can be a good emissary of what I believe yoga represents in the world. And without that time, I don't really think that I could be a good teacher. I feel like what goes on so much is that many people who begin teaching yoga, they take on this, I don't know, the personality of the teacher so much, so that they suddenly feel like they can no longer be a student. And for me, I don't know, I feel kind of the opposite, that what makes me a good teacher in the moments that I do succeed at being a good teacher is my time spent as a student, because that's what brings me compassion. That's what brings me empathy. That's what brings my attention into, connecting with others, which I think is the essence of a good yoga teacher.
Definitely. Oh, you could totally tell when a yoga teacher is not walking the walk. And I feel like it's such a good point, a good message for anyone out there who is teaching yoga to listen to that. It's so important that you keep your practice going.
And keep a relationship with the teacher, perhaps most of all, because we can continue to do our practice on our own, but unless we have a teacher we miss this element of surrender. And without this element of being able to surrender into something larger than ourselves, there's an aspect of yoga that we simply cannot grasp, because so much of our life in the West is about, controlling things, taking care of things, and getting the job done, and all of that sort of thing. So when we practice yoga and we take control of all of our practice solo without the guidance of a teacher, we're somehow replicating that same methodology. But when we truly surrender in our control into the hands of someone who we trust, this sort of replicates this devotional aspect of the practice, which helps us release our ego and ultimately trust the guidance of the universe, which is sort of a big step for many people to take. And without the help of the teacher, that sort of leap into faith is very, very hard.
Listening to you, so the aspect of a teacher in 2014, you have a lot of different yoga studios, you have a lot of different teachers. What I'm hearing is the aspect of a teacher is absolutely crucial, right? It's just,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just not yoga. You need, it's yoga. It's the teacher, in order to bring the full experience.
Yeah,
for sure.
At the same time, do you feel like you need to go back to India to be a good yoga teacher or a good yoga student? Not just you, I mean in general.
Well, that depends. I think wherever you find your teacher, to make time to go and spend it with them and really be their student is what it's about. My teacher happens to be in India. If you're not in the Ashtanga yoga lineage and you're in another lineage of yoga, and you find a teacher that happens to live in Canada or Nova Scotia or California or Brazil or something like that, then by all means go to where your teacher is. I practice Ashtanga yoga, and the lineage has always been based in that small South Indian city of Mysore. So for me, that is the place where I go to recharge. But that doesn't have to be where everyone goes to recharge, particularly if they're not following the Ashtanga yoga lineage.
How long have you been doing Ashtanga yoga, and what got you into Ashtanga in general?
Well, the first yoga class that I did was when I was 19, and I did my first yoga class at Bali Total Fitness, because I was going to the gym, and my dad would take me to the gym sometimes, and that's pretty much the only physical activity I had as a teenager. And then when I was 19, on my way to aerobics, I saw all these people, with their hands in prayer and stretching, and I thought, well, that looked really interesting. So I went and tried it, and when I was 19, I thought it was really boring because it was a lot of, relaxation. And I was 19. I wanted to party and do fast things, and, So a couple of years later, when I was 22 years old, I walked into an Ashtanga yoga class, and that was sort of this immediate answer to questions that I had been asking about life and about how to connect my mind with my body that I perhaps wasn't even aware of. The seed of yoga as the path for the more peaceful life was planted in that first class that I took when I was 19, because even though I wasn't in class and taking regular classes in the Ashtanga lineage, I was actually exploring a more restorative style of yoga until I joined that first Ashtanga yoga class. Now, what really got me on the path of Ashtanga yoga was, again, this desire to live a more peaceful life. Then I would say that it was the disciplined nature of the practice that created a route and a guide for my life. A lot of people say that they actually don't like the disciplined nature of the Ashtanga method, but for me it was the intensity, and it was the discipline, and it was this connection into something so much larger than any one individual that really sort of drew me in and gave me a sense of history in terms of the practice, and also a way to connect within myself that I didn't have up until that point.
And what do you say, you're talking about really the great promise of yoga, and that is to overcome suffering and to live, understand who we really are and live a happier, more peaceful life. Do you still come across many people who are just, right now motivated by the physical aspect?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think that what is suffering, because if we suffer physically, then we also yearn to be healthy in our bodies. So I would say that to a large portion of people in the world, suffering is equated with physical suffering. When you're physically ill or you have an injury, you suffer. So all of the people who are drawn towards yoga, even for the physical benefits, yet still they're actually rooted in the quest, in that sort of, as you said, the great promise of yoga, to move from suffering into a more peaceful life. It's just that they're phrasing it in terms of the physical body, which is the magic of yoga, particularly physical asana-based yoga, because we take this platform of the physical body, which we know very, very well through living in our bodies.
I'm going to ask you to pause 1 sec. We're just coming up on a break, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right? Stay there. Stay with us.
Yeah.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor, Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Who says you can't take it with you? TFNN says you can. With your mobile device and TFNN's live radio streams, TFNN has put it all in the palm of your hands. No special apps to download. No subscription fees for live radio or Tiger TV streams. We say you can.
Now let's go over to the dollar, because the dollar is going to be the generator. It is the generator of basically higher dollar, lower market. And what the dollar has done, and this whole uptrend, folks, has just gone sideways. The way it works, folks, is this.
We say you can. The Tiger Financial News Network. Smart investors and professional traders know you can. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Life is a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Welcome back to Mindful Living. We're speaking with Kino McGregor, world-renowned Ashtanga yoga teacher. Kino, out of curiosity, where are you now?
I'm in Miami Beach. I'm actually in a park, looking out at the ocean.
Oh, good for you.
I love it.
I thought maybe you were in Bangkok or Moscow. It's nice that you're...
I was just in D.C. over the weekend. I'll be in Charlotte next weekend. But on April 22nd, I'll be leaving for 5 weeks in Asia.
Wow.
And I'll be in many different cities then.
Wow. So out of all the projects that you're working on, what would you say, do you have a favorite thing that you love to spend your time on?
Well, there are probably two projects that I'm working on right now that are definitely a great source of inspiration for me. I'm working on a third book, which is a follow-up to my Power of Ashtanga Yoga book focusing on the primary series. Mm-hmm. So I'm working on a book about the intermediate series of Ashtanga Yoga, and that's a pretty big project, and it's definitely inspirational and provides a lot of meaning for me. And then the second thing, which is probably maybe even the diametric opposite of that, is right now I'm really enjoying posting on Instagram because I think it's just a really fun way to get creative with the practice and just have a little bit of fun and to take some cool photos in fun locations and just a really, instant way to connect with people. And there's a lot of, interested people interested in yoga on Instagram. So it's just been really fun to post there and connect with people through that format.
Definitely. I see your photos. You're a very talented photographer, actually. Have you studied that at all or just with practice?
No, not at all. No, I mean, Sometimes I have the benefit of having some professional photographers, but a lot of times it's just me and my iPhone, and so most of the times when you see a video, it's really just like my iPhone on a tripod and, or propped up in between my shoes or something like that, and then a quick video or the self-timer for the photo.
And yet it turns out spectacularly.
Yeah, Apple should be buying ads off you.
Seriously. So speaking of the proliferation of yoga, what is your thought on the growth of the business of yoga? And that is, more and more people stepping into the role of teaching.
Well, I think it's great because the more people teaching means the more people practicing. So the more people that are involved in the yoga lifestyle in a sustainable way, so they can make their life dedicated to the teaching of yoga. I think the better it is for everyone. So I think it's a positive.
I agree. I think you've been such a huge influence on that, opening the world and opening eyes for so many people. You wrote an article or a blog, I think it was an article on Elephant Journal called Confessions of a Loved and Hated Ashtangi.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there are still those feelings out there toward you? Do you still feel that way?
Well, I feel like I have not taken the traditional path in the very traditional yoga of the Ashtanga lineage. Mm-hmm. So I feel like within the Ashtanga lineage, there are still definitely people who disapprove of my use of social media or just the way that I teach or the way that I put myself out there. But that's for them. And I think primarily what's going on is that by looking at me, they're realizing that they wouldn't want to do that. Or
that maybe they should have.
Well, yeah, or maybe, yeah, I don't know. I mean, whatever reason your buttons get pushed when you look at someone is really about whatever's going on for you, whether it's unresolved stuff about yourself or who knows what. But I definitely feel that still exists. And for me, it was really important to write that article is because I did a lot of soul searching and I did a lot of questioning to see is what I'm doing congruent with what I believe the practice is. And my answer really came out to be yes. Mm-hmm. Not only is what I'm doing congruent with what I believe the practices, but it's congruent with who I believe I fundamentally am and have experienced at a very deep level of myself. Mm-hmm. So I've made my peace with it, and I wanted to sort of acknowledge and say, in that particular article, I wanted to acknowledge and say, I'm aware of the criticism, and I've really thought and taken it in, and thank you very much. What I can say is that who I am is really just authentically me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's, for our listeners who aren't aware of, you mentioned the traditional way to teach Ashtanga yoga is teacher to student alone in a yoga class.
Yeah, no advertising.
No advertising. And you have in a big way, and not just in the yoga world, in any world, whatever product it is that you're bringing to the world, in a huge way have brought it to the masses, as you say, through social networking.
Right.
So I would say in that regard, you are a huge success.
Thank you. I mean, I definitely appreciate hearing that.
Well, Kino, and folks, if you haven't seen Kino yet, the poses she can do, I mean, coming from a guy's point of view, what's really cool here, and I had said this to Allie earlier, the social media, your pictures, your videos out there, the flash is huge. So I had read that article. This is, when it was coming out, I says, this is wild because you got everything you needed, right? And when you started the program, today, your message is so eloquent, and there's no doubt that it matches your spirit. Mm-hmm. And the thing that really has to be said is that the reality is that in any big business, right, they still want to take women and dump them. No, it's a fact. I mean, it's an established, unfortunately, it's an established deal in the world, mm-hmm. and strength still, and I would say this in both sides, any type of strength, whether it's a male or female, power wants to put down, okay? In the case of a female, though, they're going to try to still, in this day and age, but it's just a trip. And that's, before I didn't even know, as much as I know about Ashtanga right now, but when I was looking at it, it says, they're just really mad that someone's getting traction, that a woman's getting traction. That was my first inclination.
Mine too.
But it's really cool talking with you now because as I said earlier, the message goes right where it should go, which is really dynamite, because it's great when you can tell just them to go, see you later, man. See you, don't want to be you. Because it's a trip. It's real. See you, that's their problem.
Well, in that article, Kino, you mentioned that you took heat for, wearing makeup or having your hair beautiful or wearing, short shorts and clothes that you love. And, Really? Really?
Yeah, we're looking good.
Right.
Oh, really?
I mean, frankly, I would say that's why a lot of people want to watch, which, hey, it's working.
It's not like I sat in my room and thought, ooh, what can I do to get a lot of views? I just put on clothes that I've always liked to practice in, and I just did my practice, and I would, look in the mirror and say, like, okay, well, I'm going to be filmed or photographed. I would want to look my best, and, in order to do that, I would just do whatever I would normally do. It wasn't like I thought it wasn't the idea to hatch a marketing plan. The idea that I always had was just to present my best self, and just to do a good job. And the things I wear in the videos are the things I practice in my room when no one's watching. So it's not like it's a show. It's really just me.
Yeah, it's such an effective way to spread the message as well. I mean, if you think about the examples of Krishnamacharya, who went to towns and did yoga demonstrations to increase interest. Right. It's essentially what you're doing. You're just using the modern day tools to do it. It's working.
Yeah, I definitely like to think of it like that. Krishnamacharya at some moment said to his students, go out and make yoga propaganda. Go out and spread this message into the world. If you read the book A.G. Mohan, who is the author, Krishnamacharya, His Life and Teachings, he said that when Krishnamacharya left his teacher, the only payment that Krishnamacharya's teacher asked for him was, go out and take this message of yoga to the world. That's the payment that you can make for me. So I like to think of the continuation of that dream about taking this message of yoga into the world and letting it transform the world. Really, every time any student joins the practice is one small step in that direction.
And you are a very accomplished Ashtanga yogi, which is for people who aren't familiar with that, a very specific style or type of yoga. And so you're practicing 4th series now, is that correct?
Yes, I finished the 4th series under the guidance of my teacher this year, and it's pretty challenging. It's a challenging practice, and that series in particular is very, very challenging.
Oh yeah, I mean, the first series is challenging, Kino.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing. And do you feel, and we're talking about yoga in general, and it's so wonderful and beautiful. Do you feel personally that the Ashtanga yoga method is better in some way, or in general better?
Well, it's better for me. I don't know if it's better for every single person, but it's definitely the method that works the best for me because, again, I like the disciplined approach to practice, and I like the challenge that the practice provides, and I also like the lineage-based style, as well as the logic of each series and sort of staying it where you are until you move on. I don't know if that works for every single person. I think we all have to find the style of yoga that works for us. We all have our favorite dish on the menu of a restaurant. It doesn't mean that needs to be everyone's favorite dish. A lot of people could like one particular dish, but it doesn't, I don't think it serves anyone's interest to say one style is better than the other for everyone. It's really a matter of what works most effectively for us as an individual.
I agree. Yeah. So for people who are curious and who want to get started, what would be your best advice for them?
Well, it depends. If you have the accessibility to a yoga center and a teacher, that's definitely the best. So, if you can go to a class, Google, yoga, and find the best yoga center in your area. So read the bios of all the teachers. Make sure that they have a teacher and that they have a lineage. Make sure that they are qualified and that they've put in the work as students. And then go take an intro to yoga course if they offer them and start from the basics. Don't jump into advanced. Even if you're an accomplished athlete, start with an intro class and build your way up. And if you don't have access to a teacher, I would say that it's probably best to at least start off with something online. There are a lot of, beginners yoga courses online or free stuff available on YouTube if you don't have access to or the ability even to, buy an online class. So you can start sort of at your, in the privacy of your own home, which a lot of people prefer because they don't have to be in the class environment. At some moment, if you're practicing on your own, you're going to get dragged into a class. Something's going to just pull you. You're going to find a teacher you're so inspired by, and you're just going to want to meet them. Eventually, I think everyone needs to find their way into a class. But whether you jump right into a class or start off with online videos, I think that's the perfect place to start.
Great.
This is pretty cool because the aspect of, it seems that as yoga keeps getting bigger, the aspect of the teacher, to me, now this is, the first class I ever took was like 8 years ago with Allie, right? Then I was out of it for a good 6 years. I thought I don't know how I didn't go, but bottom line, I didn't. So, then I get back. But it seems that the aspect of the teacher is getting diluted, to me, as looking in.
I can see what you mean, because I think maybe another way to think about it is that there are many levels of teachers, and that, there's maybe what you could say to be a teacher of teachers, and that's someone who would be this sort of high-level teacher that you would want to maybe look at sort of surrendering the ego into. Then there are people who are, teaching yoga, but perhaps they're more on, you could think of them more on the level as yoga instructors, rather than that high denomination of sort of a spiritual teacher. And that might be a way to sort of delineate those two concepts as there are more and more people teaching and instructing yoga classes.
Yeah, I think you really, your advice at the very beginning of the show is for anyone teaching yoga, you have to, it's a lifestyle, and to practice, teach what you practice, teach what you know.
Absolutely.
So I just feel like maybe why we see different levels of teachers, because some people who are out there teaching aren't really committed, perhaps, to the lifestyle, or only to a certain level.
My experience is that I like them all. Okay.
Sure.
But the experience that we're talking about here, I can understand it with a lot more clarity, because the commitment would be bigger, and spiritually it would be much bigger.
Right.
There's no doubt. It's more than just the physical deal.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when I met my teacher, Sri K. Patabi Joyce, there wasn't this question of commitment. It was like you signed up for the month, you had to commit, fly all the way to India to go there, and the minimum amount of time was 1 month, but he recommended 3 months. So this is already a whole other level of commitment. It's not, you can't drop in, you can't just check it out. It's like you have to jump in, you could almost say heart first, because you have to trust. And it's that really creates the opening for you to experience.
Right. What can we look forward to, Kino? You seem to have so many exciting, so you said your third book. I know you have an interest, and this was written in the article that I just read, in TV or film projects. Can you share with us?
I think that there needs to be something about the yoga lifestyle through the platform of television, and I've had a few projects that I've shopped around, and nothing's really gained any traction, but I'm definitely still available and interested in exploring some way to bring the message of yoga through the platform of television to more people in the world, because I think the lifestyle commitment in relation to yoga and all of the things that it brings up in terms of how it reshapes your verbiage, how it reshapes your emotionality, how it reshapes your choices in food and entertainment, and all of these sort of things, I think is a very compelling and flexible story in terms of the transformation aspect of how we go from this lifestyle prior to doing yoga into being these embodied, yogis in the world, yoga practitioners, what that means and what that brings up. It's often a very inward and intense emotional journey that I think would be amazing and inspirational to really share with viewers all over the world.
I agree. I would watch it. And I know the other millions of people around the world practicing yoga would tune in, so good luck.
Yeah.
I would love to see that happen. Well,
I'll keep working on it.
Definitely. We want to thank you so much for being on the show, Kino, and just the best of energy and wishes to you on all of your endeavors. It's been a pleasure and inspiration watching you work and grow, and just send you the best of luck for everything.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.
Thanks so much, Kino.
Kino,
it was really
thank
awesome.
you. Have a lovely day. Be safe.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. For more information on Kino, check out her website, which we've posted here on TFNN, our website. It's kinoyoga.com. You can also follow her on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all the other, and Instagram, all of the other social networking tools that she's using. For those business entrepreneurs out there, Kino calls herself a yoga entrepreneur, and so she is. She's a very strong, smart businesswoman. And you can look at her example, particularly her use of social networking.
Oh, it's huge.
In any business that
Right.
you might be running. So
Right.
I say, we talked about in the yoga community, there was a time when she felt like she was being judged for putting herself out there so much, or it was too much. Well, when is it too much to try and sell a product,
Right.
And
Right.
she's selling yoga. And
Right.
selling or educating, again, you could look at it on what type of product you're selling. It's a good healing product, that can potentially
it's
make your life
interesting.
better.
What does happen inside yoga in general is that I think that when you're working out so much, sometimes you're not even cognizant of your body, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fact.
Right.
That's what really starts happening. So in that aspect, I can see when people are looking at this and, well, what do they say? But we know that that's not really the aspect. What the aspect is, is that you're feeling great.
Right.
You're stretching. I mean, it's mentally, it's a connection.
Totally.
So that in itself, unless you're doing that, you really don't understand that too. Do you know what I mean? So I can see people looking outside. The people in the community should know that. If you
Sure.
go outside, that's a different aspect.
Yeah, and sometimes it starts one way, as Kino said, or as we talked about, it might start really physical, and I'm just going because I want to get stronger, more flexible, but because of the other aspects of yoga, it's this deep calming breath, and it's so healing and nourishing for the body, and you have to really focus your mind on what you're doing, otherwise you could really get hurt. So it turns into this focus practice, this moving meditation. And as a result of that, from the other shows we've covered, the benefits of deep breath and meditation
Yes.
are less stress, reduction in disease. So you start to feel better, and you may not be able to explain why. You may not be
Right.
able to put your finger on
Right.
why yoga just makes you feel good.
Yeah, I can tell you, from everyone that we interviewed, I think she did the best job of explaining why.
The message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The message.
It's cool.
Yeah, it was totally.
And as we talked about, this is a woman who she's a yoga ambassador, traveling the world. Check out her website, her schedule. She's in
It's insane.
a different city 3 times a month, different countries, traveling the world. And so she is, giving this message a lot, an accomplished speaker. And I'm proud to
Now,
be
you
part
talk
of that
about
community.
Accomplishments. You have a few teacher trainings coming up.
Coming up for
You're-
people who are interested in diving deeper
So
into yoga.
when are you're going to be moving around. Where are you going?
I've got one coming up in Shreveport, Louisiana, beginning in July, end of July. One right here in Clearwater. It's a 4-week, 1-month intensive. Now, this is a yoga immersion.
Okay.
It is really the first priority of the program is to help people just immerse themselves in the yoga studies, to understand it more deeply. How
Right.
do they apply it to their life? What's the history? Why does it work? How does it work? What's important? How do we practice correctly? And then for people who might be interested in launching a career in health and wellness, particularly yoga, it is a yoga teacher training program. So we start from day one teaching fundamentals on how to teach yoga.
Right.
So we've got the 1-month program coming up in June here in Clearwater, the gorgeous beaches of Clearwater.
Yes.
The Shreveport, Louisiana program in July. I'll have a Panama City and the Panhandle of Yoga program starting in August, as well as a program in Nebraska in August. And then
All those con stocks.
South Carolina next
You're
year.
gonna go to
I
those
know.
con stocks.
Slowly sweep it across the southeast
beautiful
and
thing.
eastern U.S. So it's been a beautiful day. We hope for those of you who are inspired by Kino's message, get on your yoga mat and check us out next week for more mindful living at TFNN.com. Thanks for joining us. Namaste.
Namaste, folks.
Be well.
Thanks so much.